You ever hear a story that sticks with you? Not because it's gory or full of jump scares, but because it feels real. Well, this happened to me, and I still can't explain it. A few years ago, I rented an apartment in this old building downtown. It had that classic, vintage charm, high ceilings, creaky wooden floors, and huge windows that let in just the right amount of light during the day. But at night, it felt different, like the walls held onto something they shouldn't. My first clue that something was off came within the first week. I kept hearing footsteps above me. Not unusual for an apartment, right? Except, I lived on the top floor. I told myself it was the pipes, maybe the building settling. But the footsteps didn't sound like creaks or groans. They were deliberate, slow, like someone pacing back and forth. It always happened around midnight. Then things started to go missing. Small stuff at first. Keys, a sock, a spoon. I figured I was just being forgetful. But one morning, I found my missing keys on the kitchen counter, placed neatly next to a cup of cold coffee. The thing is, I don't drink coffee. I started feeling watched, even when I was alone. Shadows would flicker just at the edge of my vision, disappearing when I turned my head. Lights would flicker, doors would creak open on their own, and my cat refused to go into the bedroom. One night, I woke up freezing, my breath visible in the air, even though it was the middle of summer. The bedroom door, which I always kept closed, was wide open. Standing in the doorway was a shadow, not just a dark figure. It was darker than the darkness around it. I couldn't see its face, but I felt its eyes on me. I couldn't move. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The shadow just stood there, motionless. Then, slowly, it started to move toward me, step by step, until it was right next to my bed. And then, nothing. I woke up the next morning, thinking it was just a nightmare. But when I got out of bed, I found handprints on the wall above my headboard. Small, dark handprints, like they were burned into the paint. I tried everything, sage, salt, even a priest. Nothing worked. The activity got worse. I'd hear whispers in the dark, feel cold hands brush against me when no one was there. I even saw it again, standing at the foot of my bed, just watching. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I broke my lease and moved out. But here's the thing, I still feel it sometimes. In mirrors, in dark corners, just out of sight, like it followed me. After I moved, I thought I'd left it all behind. But a few weeks later, strange things started happening in my new place. Not as intense at first, just small, inexplicable noises, like faint tapping on the walls when no one else was around. My cat, who had started acting normal again, suddenly became skittish. She'd stare at the same empty spot in the hallway, her eyes wide, pupils dilated, and then hiss like something was there. One evening, I decided to set up a camera. Just a simple one, facing the living room. I needed to prove to myself that it was all in my head. The next morning, I checked the footage, expecting nothing. But around 3:17 a.m., the camera picked up movement. A shadow, just like the one from my old apartment, gliding across the room. No defined shape, just darkness shifting unnaturally, like it was crawling along the walls. And then it stopped, right in front of the camera, lingering for a moment before vanishing completely. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't just keep running, so I started digging. I went back to the old apartment building, talked to the landlord, and found out something chilling. That apartment had a history. A tenant years ago had disappeared under mysterious circumstances. No signs of forced entry, nothing stolen, just gone. And before them, someone else had moved out abruptly, claiming the place was haunted. It wasn't just the apartment. It was something attached to it, or maybe to me. I reached out to a paranormal expert. They called it an attachment, something that latches onto a person rather than a place. They performed a cleansing ritual, but deep down I knew it wasn't enough. Because even now, as I sit here telling you this, I feel it, right behind me, and if you listen closely, maybe you can hear it too.